What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my review of Better Call Saul, Season 3, Episode 5, titled Chicanery? I'm not really sure how to pronounce that word, but as I went over in my predictions, it means to win like a legal battle with trickery. It's to use trickery to win something. All right, let's get into it. Another solid episode. Let me start by saying that the show is great. I mean, it never fails to deliver on at least the acting and the writing, even if it's not an action-packed episode. All right. Okay, so the synopsis for this episode reads, Kim and Jimmy face off with an adversary. Jimmy looks to Chuck's past to secure his future, and Jimmy loses an ally and gains another. All right. So let's break this down here. Kim and Jimmy face off with an adversary. Obviously, you know, that was Chuck and Howard, and it was so well handled. How they did it. You know, as hard as I tried to try and figure out Jimmy and how his brain works and where he's going to get his next idea or next scheme from, I whatever my guesses are never what Jimmy decides, and that's a good thing. It was the same thing with Walt. I always wondered how Walt was going to get out of the problems he was going to get out, you know, that he was in Breaking Bad. And it was never the way I thought he was going to go, but he always got out of it, right? So it's the same thing here with Jimmy, where it may not be the way we all think he's going to go or what we think he's going to do, but the end result is going to be the same, and he's kind of going to get himself out of hot water. But, you know, sometimes he puts himself in even deeper hot water after that, a la Walter White. All right. So, yeah, that was good. I love that whole court scene, and, you know, just the way that the dynamic between Jimmy and Kim, it just works so good to me. Even in the first season, I didn't think the actors had very good chemistry together, and they probably still don't, and that's why, like, they don't show us the intimate stuff. They don't really show us a lot of the kissing or the love making or whatever, because I don't think the chemistry is really there for the two actors, but it still works because there is chemistry in their conversation, and that just goes to them both being good actors. And then we get the little scenes like the foot rubs or the toenail polishing that lends to that intimacy feeling. And then we get those scenes where, you know, they're waking up together, going through their morning routine together, so we know that they spent the night together. So I like the way it's done. It's well handled, even though I think the reason why it's done is because they don't have the best chemistry together on an intimate level. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but whatever. All right, so then the next part of it is Jimmy looks to Chuck's past to secure his future. So that was Jimmy going after the ex-wife and bringing her into the whole courtroom scene and dynamic. And, man, that was a really dirty move on Jimmy's part. But chicanery, it's that trickery, you know, it's that doing things that may not be expected or may not be an ethical practice by, you know, amongst the other lawyers in order to win. And you know, it worked. It really worked. It just stuck that knife in Chuck, you know what I mean, a little bit deeper. That Chuck's already feeling, even though I feel like Jimmy's the one that really has a knife in his back, you know, from Chuck. But Chuck feels scorned too, so it really dug that in a lot deeper on Chuck. And then I love the scene with the battery in the phone. You know, at first I'm like, oh, he's got the phone, he's not all hurt. You know, look, the guy's crazy. He's obviously either lying or crazy about his illness. And then the fact that the battery was in his pocket the whole time, loved it. It was the acting on this show is just so great. Michael McKean is so amazing. I mean, they all are, but so good. All right, so yeah, so Jimmy looked through his past by bringing the wife in, and I love how when they do those flashback scenes, they had that one in the beginning about, I guess, when Chuck first got ill and he was separated from his wife. They don't explain why they were separated, I don't think, unless I missed something. I only watched the episode once, so I may have missed some sort of explanation as to why they got separated to begin with. I don't know if it was because of the illness, but I feel like it was alluded to that the illness didn't happen until after she left him. So I think her leaving is probably what caused the illness, I would imagine. Or, his illness. And then finally we have Jimmy loses an ally and gains another. This one is rough for me even after seeing the episode. I guess gaining an ally would be Huel. I originally thought it was going to be Howard, but they obviously didn't play that the way they went. The actor that plays Howard, what's his name? Hold on, let me just look real quick. Patrick Fabian. He's so good because there's some moments where I hate him and he looks like such a bad guy, such a prick. And then there's other moments where I kind of like, and I'm like, I don't know if this guy's as bad as I think he is. He's so good. That whole scene with him and Kim, with him on the witness stand, was so entertaining for me. Okay, so what ally does he lose? Does Jimmy lose? I don't know. I really don't know. I just watched the episode last night, so I originally thought it was Kim, and I don't know. I'm lost for that one. All right. The themes for this episode, the themes have been pretty much similar for most of the Better Call Saul episodes, where it's really about two brothers, and it doesn't really go much deeper than that. It's about two brothers. But I guess if you had to pick a specific theme on this episode, it would be using any means necessary to get a win. So I guess, whether that means using trickery or lying or exaggerating truths or whatever it be, using any means necessary to win, whatever it is you're trying to win, right? All right, the opening scene, I just want to talk about that again for a minute with the wife and Chuck and Jimmy. The way that they construct the opening scenes is so great to me because with this show, it always takes a couple of minutes to sink in whether or not this is in real time. I guess because, the actors look very similar in their flashbacks than they do, as they do in their present day. But, you kind of have to wait to see how things are going to play out to really pinpoint where it is in the time frame. But there's not really much more to say about it other than I'm curious to know why they split up. And just Michael McKean's acting. I just want to harp on it. This whole episode was Michael McKean's episode. He shined. Chuck shined in this episode. I don't mean as a good character. He's still a jerk, and he's still a great bad guy. But the acting on Michael McKean is just fantastic. So that's what we have. We basically just have Jimmy and Chuck doing whatever they can, whatever trickery they can do to win the case. So what was Chuck's trickery? The whole thing with the tape was Chuck's trickery, and then playing with the verbiage in the contract and all that is Chuck's trickery. And Chuck putting on this sob story, practicing this whole speech before he went in on the witness stand was Chuck's trickery. It's his way of just tipping the scales against Jimmy. And I feel like it's working up until the end of the episode. Once the end of the episode came, I'm like, the one lady on the council, the black lady, she looks like she's not buying it from the beginning. And then the guy in the middle, who we've all seen before, I'm not going to get into all that right now, where I know him from, whatever. But then the guy in the middle seems to be flip-flopping the whole way. And they don't really harp on the third guy's, or maybe it's 4 people. But they don't harp on the other 2 facial expressions as they do with those 2. So yeah, I mean, look, the way the episode was crafted, it's great because you don't even know all the trickery that's going on. You don't find out the trickery until it's unfolded to the characters. Like when he mentions, oh, I hope he doesn't need to fit in tight spaces or whatever, I knew it was Huel right away. I said, Huel! He looks different, and it's a little off-putting because he obviously lost weight. I'm not knocking the guy. You want to lose some weight for health, that's fine. But, he looks strange, as some people do when they have weight loss surgeries or lose an enormous amount of weight. And it could just be strange to me because it's not what I'm used to seeing them, But this show takes place 5 or 6 years before Breaking Bad, so it's definitely possible in this story Huel didn't put on that massive amount of weight until after he started working for Jimmy, for Saul, and I guess started eating good, right? I can't wait to see if and when we see Kubi. That's Bill Burr's character, the redhead dude. I've been waiting for these two to come back on the show since it was announced that there was going to be a Better Call Saul. Because I said these guys work for Saul. They have to be in the show. And we got Huel, even if he looked a little different. I'm sure he'll still be the same Huel to an extent. And hopefully we get Kubi also. Probably not this season. They seem to want to space out their cameos. But this season we've been getting a lot of cameos. They've been kind of flooding us. So maybe we will get Kubi this year. There was no side character arc or anything. This whole episode was Jimmy and Chuck. And that was it. We didn't get Mike. We didn't get Gus. We didn't even get like a side Kim story. She had her one little scene with Mesa Verde. And I still think that this is all going to come back to bite Kim in the butt. And she's going to lose Mesa Verde because of it. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that. But I really think that that's where they're going with the storyline. And that's what's going to make Kim really shy away from Jimmy. Because I'm telling you, it's not going to be all peaches and cream and puppies and kittens for Jimmy in his life. And leading up to Saul. Bad things are going to happen. So count on it. The meaning of the title, we talked about that. Chicanery, it's, it means to use trickery in court and all that. So that's a self-explanatory for the episode. And the episode standout I'm giving to Michael McKean by far. Chuck gets it by far this episode. He was so good in his panic attacks, in his condescending I'm better than you lawyer tone and face, and in his angry rage at Jimmy. He explored so many different sides of Chuck in this one episode that even if you didn't see any of the episodes that came before it, you kind of get a good sense of who Chuck is. He did a really good job this episode. Look, everyone, I always say this, everybody on this show does an amazing job. But if I had to pick a standout this week, definitely Michael McKean. And the production standout, we're going to go with the writing like always. Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, they hit a home run every single episode, every page, every scene that they write. It's good stuff, and it feels real. That's what makes it even better than it being great writing. It feels real. It feels like, I'm watching real life with real people. My favorite moment of the entire episode, the end scene with the battery. As much as I love Huel, the end scene with the battery, that whole scene, Chuck's whole rant and all that after it, that's the winner for me. That's definitely my favorite moment of the whole episode. My least favorite moment, honestly, no Mike. That's my least favorite, which isn't really a complaint about the episode. It's just a complaint in general. I had the same complaint about Fargo last week. So, and you just miss you just miss certain characters, especially when they're acted and written so well. So that's my my only complaint with the episode. Final rating, another solid episode, not terribly exciting, so this will be another 4.0 out of 5. The acting was amazing, the writing was amazing. As always, you got to give the director credit. Whenever you talk about acting, performances, or the way things are shot, you always have to give the director credit, because it's his show. That episode is the director's show, and the actors, I'm sure, are great actors without the director or whatever, but he's the one that got them there. So you got to give the director credit whenever you talk about performances. All right, that's it for this. That's it for this one. Let me know what you thought about this episode of Better Call Saul, Season 3, Episode 5. Let me know what you think about my review. Chime in down below. Give me your opinions on the episode and on my video in general. I'm always looking for criticisms. I'm always looking for ways that I can improve and make myself and the channel better. And the only way I can do that is with your help. Also, make sure if you like the video to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It not only lets me know that I'm doing things somewhat right, it lets YouTube know that you guys actually like the content. And, yep, that's always a good thing. All right, thanks again for watching. Always appreciated. You guys have a great day. And, yep, that's it for this one. I will see you next time.